All right, we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our stream. The first thing is a big trend that's sucking new people into the Ethereum space and what you need to understand about this. Demand for Ethereum is exploding, especially heading into the merge, which is the transition for Ethereum to move to proof of stake for Ethereum 2.0 later this year. And I'm going to talk about that in this video. Look at a lot of other updates that have happened in the space since our last live stream we did on Friday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Just turn on notifications, subscribe. You're going to find out about those whenever we go live. We're going to answer some of your questions and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step by step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Hodge, David Stone, Technically, Code Chap, Charles, Automatic Beats, Shay, Aileen, Alan, Robert, Norris, Rodrigo, Norman. I think I said that one already. Charles, Shmi, J, Austin. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about a new trend that's pulling a lot of people into the Ethereum space. So before we get into this, basically set in the context, we have a lot of stuff happening for Ethereum this year, particularly the merge for proof of where we basically take Ethereum and turn it into a staking blockchain. It moves from proof of work to proof of stake for the Ethereum 2.0 upgrade. It's one of the largest anticipated events in the entire blockchain space for years now. And that's one of the reasons we're seeing this massive demand flow into the Ethereum space. And so actually I want to talk about, let's see a thread for this right now. Looks like I might have some lag on my camera here. Let's just see, can y'all still hear me okay? I think my webcam's giving me some connectivity issues. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay. Let me know in the live chat if my stream's coming through okay. Somebody says audio's cutting out. Okay. Awesome. Okay, I just want to make sure we're all clear before we continue on here. So let me jump back into this. So let's talk about the big demand for Ethereum that's ramping up here. So this is, of course, got to do with the Ethereum 2.0 merge that's coming in this year, coming in hot. Okay, so I want to pull this thread here from Spencer Noon. So I'm gonna follow Spencer. Definitely go check him out on Twitter. He's got a ton of awesome insights on the space. But I want to pull some data that he is talking about to draw this insight, to talk about a new class of people entering into the ETH space that's causing demand for Ethereum, the asset itself, to actually go up. So some thoughts on ETH2 and Lido Finance. All right. So as the merge draws near, the total amount of ETH staked on ETH2 has passed 10 million Ether, so $34 billion. So basically, the majority of these new deposits are happening via Lido. So to me, this signals a new class of people who are doing this. All right. So I'll break this down. So basically, a new class of people has entered this market. Investors, and not just any investors, marginal buyers of ETH. Until recently, most depositors were seemingly techies, ETH heads, and large long-term holders. Example, Consensus, who rolled their own staking solutions. So this is new money. All right. So new people, new money entering into this space. So average deposit size for Lido is up over the past 2 months, which signals that we may be seeing institutional hedge funds and large DeFi whales gearing up for the merge trade. So basically, the merge is exactly what I'm talking about. Ethereum going into proof of stake later this year, okay? And the supply of staked ETH, or this token that you get back from Lido, continues to grow as we've increasingly seeing DeFi protocols like Curve Finance, Aave, and Iron Finance or Yearn Finance, and others, with yields projecting to be around 8 to 10% post-merge. Expect to see staked ETH integrated to more protocols for extra yields, okay? So what is this and why is this important? So basically, what he's talking about here is we're seeing participation of new people gobbling up Ether, the asset itself, in the form of something called staked Ether. So what is it? So basically, right now, if you want to stake Ethereum cryptocurrency, here's how you have to do it, okay? So if you want to stake Ether right now, you have to basically take it into your own wallet, send it, if you want to do it like natively, like the way you're sort of supposed to do it. You have to take it, stick it into a wallet, send it to a smart contract, and then send it over to this thing called the beacon chain. All right, that's the new blockchain that's being built for Ethereum 2.0. It's going to get merged back into Ethereum 1.0 that you know and use today. That's what the merge is called later this year. Okay, so after the merge, I'll say audio's bugging. I'm not sure what's going on with my stream here, everybody. Let's just see here. Can you also hear me okay? Can you also, so it said the audio, is it still compromised? Let's see here. I'm not sure why it's so messed up today. Okay, I'm just going to keep pressing on here. Let me know if y'all can still hear me okay. Okay, awesome. So anyways, we've got the second blockchain over here where all the ETH is going. So if you want to stake ETH now, you've got to send it to the second blockchain. You can't get it back till after the merge happens. And actually, not like right when it happens, there's going to be an extra period of time that you have to wait for that to happen, okay? So basically, we're seeing more people, and whenever that happens, like the staking yield is going to be close to 10%, all right? And that's one of the reasons that we're seeing more people flow into this space. But we're actually seeing evidence, most likely, of new people who are not doing this before start to increase demand, which is super bullish for ETH, the asset itself, because we're talking about, more and more people, sort of jumping into the space. So they're doing it through the form of what's called, staked Ether on chain with something like Lido Finance, which is a liquid staking protocol. So like I said before, like the way that you sort of have to do staking, right now natively, essentially is to just like take it and then like send it to the beacon chain, and then you can't get it back until after the merge happens, and you have to run a validator node. So basically you can make, by doing something like liquid staking protocol on chain, something like Lido Finance, where basically you send your ETH to a smart contract, you get back a liquid staking token that represents your staked ETH, and you can actually go use that for other things in DeFi. So you're able to leverage it. You're able to get all these enhanced benefits on your ETH that's not just locked up. And we're basically seeing the demand for that type of thing to explode here. And so that's huge for the entire Ethereum ecosystem, and it's definitely a trend that is starting to take off quite a bit now that I think could have a huge impact on where the space is headed over the next coming months as we head into the merge. So I'm not really sure why my audio keeps lagging in and out. It's kind of like killing the stream here, killing the stream retention. Let's see. Can y'all see me okay? So somebody says, you can do it through exchanges as well. Lowest percentage though. Yeah, totally. You can definitely do it through exchanges as well. So somebody can still hear me okay, but the camera lags sometimes. Yeah, I'm not really sure why the camera's lagging. I'll have to get this fixed. It's been fine up until this point. I'm not really sure why the stream is just giving me so much trouble today, everybody. Okay, so anyways, yeah, you can definitely do it through, you can do exchanges as well, but you have this added benefit of doing it with staked Ether on something like Lido Finance, because then you get a token back that you're going to go use for DeFi, and that's part of the trend that we're seeing actually take off here, which is drawing in a new class, a new set of participants into the Ethereum ecosystem itself, which is is a huge indicator of new demand coming for ETH, especially ahead of the merge. Okay, so that's definitely something to pay attention to. I'm going to keep watching this data, updating you all on it as we see this trend continue to take off, because it's a pretty big, I would say, catalyst for what's going to happen with the merge and the overall demand for Ethereum into the space. So let's talk about a couple other things that popped up in the space since yesterday. One of which is it's not totally related to crypto, but it kind of might be. Okay, we gotta draw some inferences here. So basically, we saw this come out this morning about Twitter shares soar more than 21% after Elon Musk takes a 9% stake in the social media company. Okay, so on the surface, you wouldn't think that this has any bearing on crypto, but it actually could, okay, in some way or another. And this is total speculation. All right, we don't know. Sort of just connecting the dots here, but let's kind of connect the dots here. So earlier, I saw this tweet come up from Elon. All right, let me just find it. So I saw this tweet come up from Elon a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was like last week or something. Maybe it was like last week. So Twitter algorithm should be open source. It was a poll on Twitter. So yes or no. Okay. And overwhelmingly people voted yes. Okay. So the desire for this is definitely something called, transparency, which is a core value proposition of Web 3.0, is that you take applications that exist now and basically make them transparent, even if they're not completely decentralized, so that people can actually audit them and see how they work underneath the hood. Because one of the biggest complaints of social media platforms like Twitter is that there's all this trust involved. And so when you make things transparent, you reduce the amount of trust you have in these centralized authorities, okay? So, I mean, one long possibility that we've talked about for Web 3.0 based social media is that you basically take the important parts of social media that people don't trust and you make them open source. You make them transparent. You make them public, okay? And that's one benefit that you could have with something like Web 3.0, because otherwise you don't know. Like if you look on the sidebar of Twitter, how do you know that the things that are trending are actually trending, right? What if there's like what if there's an agenda, that somebody is basically able to commandeer to make this stuff trending here? Or what if it's just simple human bias, right? Like, what if there's just things that there's not necessarily malicious bad actors, but there's flaws in how things start, trend? I think fundamentally people don't trust in the algorithms that exist on social media right now. And I think this is one area where we could see improvement on a platform like Twitter or others to actually gain, respect and market share and more usage. So, there's some speculation here that, Elon could be thinking about those types of things and is now a large stakeholder in Twitter, which I believe is significantly higher than Jack Dorsey's own previous stake, or I guess still stake, I'm not really sure to tell you the truth, of 2.25%. So, we did see Jack Dorsey leave Twitter, all right, I believe it was earlier this year. And one sort of speculation about why that was the case is that, Twitter wanted to start adding Web 3.0 types of things. And, Jack was pretty anti-Web 3.0 for things that weren't just Bitcoin, okay? And so it's hard to say if that's why he left, but basically after he left, we started to see things like Twitter NFT verification. We started to see things like, different Web 3.0 related features starting to crypto tipping with Ether and other digital assets, okay? And those types of things start to, start to be integrated into Twitter. And the big thought here was that if he had been there, then we wouldn't have seen these types of features integrated, because he would have pushed back, like, we don't need that. It's like no better. We don't care about ETH and these other things. But now that he's gone, we start to see those things. And sort of the speculation is that, Elon could be an influential player into making something like Twitter become more decentralized, Web 3.0 based, especially as we start to see those, like, see those polls, about him talking about should the Twitter algorithm be open source. So we'll see. Again, total speculation, but kind of connecting the dots on some things that I've seen floating around there, and definitely something to watch out for. So what do y'all think down in the comment section below? Is Twitter going to go all full Web3? Is Elon going to have anything to do with it? Someone says they're working on the AI NFT project. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely go check that out. We dropped a tutorial on Friday about how to create an NFT with artificial intelligence. Somebody says 100% people would be interested in the algorithm. On the flip side, wouldn't just make it more dangerous for people intent to game the algorithm. Yeah, that's a good point. Somebody says, hey, the videos are awesome. Working on getting into career in blockchain Web 3.0. Awesome. Somebody says, Elon joked about buying Twitter and changing the bird icon to a Doge icon. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and check on a couple other things that have happened in the space since our last stream on Friday here. So we can definitely take a look up what's going on with the, hold on a second, my computer's freaking out on me. Having a little bit of a technical, a bad tech day. You heard of a bad hair day? This is kind of like a bad tech day where like nothing on my computer seems like it wants to work properly. So everybody be patient with me here. Okay. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and take a look here. So let's take a quick peek about what's going on with the crypto markets. So yeah, Bitcoin's back about in the $45,000 range. Okay. We had a red weekly candle for last week, which on the grand scheme of things, I don't think is that big of a deal. I think some people were kind of freaked out about it. But let's kind of take a look at sort of the line in the sand that I think a lot of people are watching, which is still that 200-day moving average. So, Bitcoin's been pretty bearish all year. We've seen, some consolidation in this area, some support here. Okay. We start to see what has been looking like a trend reversal. Okay. We don't know for sure. But, it's been encouraging on the grand scheme of things. We've talked about that in our past live streams, but there's still sort of a final boss that I think has to be crossed before people are, even more risk on. I think the appetite for risk is coming back into the marketplace, but I don't think people are just going to go completely, crazy until we get above this 200-day moving average, basically looking at, Bitcoin's past price performance compared to its current price performance averaged out over 200 days, okay? So, I'd like to see everything break above this, okay, and actually hold it as support after we see a correction. I mean, in the short term, it's good that we have, gone up and then, held some support above these levels here, all right? You can see this was sort of like previous resistance where the price like couldn't really get above here. But if we can hold these price levels, that looks like some strong consolidation so that we can get past it. And if it takes us some time, that can be a good thing too, right? If we just had blasted above this, we could see even more volatility. So it's too early to tell, but I'm still pretty cautiously optimistic, as I've always stated on this channel over the long term in particular. The short term stuff's really hard to tell. Still nothing has changed about my thesis of technology that's got real utility behind it, and the long term trend of price is basically watching that adoption take off. Okay. So same story for ETH price, basically. Although we're already seeing the ETH to BTC ratio look stronger. Okay. We've seen ETH kind of climb pretty well compared to the Bitcoin price. And ETH actually hit above its 200-day moving average, is now back down below it. Okay. I think the 200-day moving average stuff is not that important on the grand scheme of things for the crypto prices, as much as it is people just like it's sort of like a metric that a lot of traders and other people know that a certain number of people watch, because it's been resistance in previous bear markets. Okay, so like if you look at what happened in 2018 or like right here. Like, you got that moving average, and we just couldn't get past it. And it kept just dragging us down. And also that the 200-day moving average was consistently down in a downward trend, all right? And now the 200-day moving average is, flattening, all right? And so if we can flatten that 200 moving average, reverse the trend on that line itself and actually get above it, I think that's what people are looking for before they just go completely bananas and start, kind of like going full risk on into the space for Bitcoin in particular. Okay, I don't necessarily think that that's the case for assets like ETH and other quote unquote altcoins. It's kind of an old word, but we'll just use it because that's common language in crypto. But yeah, I think that's sort of how I feel about things in the short term. Those are the lines in the sand that I think people want to get across before we go bananas. So let me know that you all think down in the comment section below. Somebody says, so this is the bullish April, air quotes. Yeah. Somebody says, launching my first project on Saturday with the boot camp. What's the best way to promote DeFi projects? So, I mean, if you're just starting out, you don't have a strong marketing background, the easiest way to do it is just boots on the ground marketing. So Twitter, Discord, all that type of stuff, build a community, trying to offer value, real value, all right, in a way that, basically giving before, providing value. So let's see here. So what I think about blockchain for healthcare. So it's a compelling use case for sure. Basically the idea that you are going to have, more control over the data that you provide to healthcare providers. All right. So they don't just own all your data, but you could potentially own it and have your identity, more custodial in your hands. Okay. I guess the big sort of, what are some of the blockers there? Well, I think some of the blockers are essentially the privacy implementation, because privacy is huge for healthcare. Okay. I mean, you have so many like HIPAA compliance and all that type of stuff. Also, so regulations. So basically, it's two sides, two parts of this. One is actually getting the privacy to work, and let's say you got the privacy to work in a really effective way. The other way is basically so that other areas of healthcare that are tightly regulated allow you to use that technology. And so in order for that to happen, the incentives actually have to be in place for that technology to get adopted to where regulators are going to be on board with it. And so it's got some hurdles to overcome. I think that's very possible, but that's what's standing in the way. I mean, scalability as well, but that's sort of like a hurdle that everybody has to cross. Somebody says only one. Yeah, so the stream is cutting in and out today. I'm not really sure why this is happening. I have to figure out. I think if I change my connection, then I can improve this problem, but we'll see. So let's see here. So speaking of Web 3.0 social media, one project that you can definitely keep an eye on for sure is what's happening with Lens protocol. Okay. So this is definitely one to check out for, we've talked about this some in the live streams, and I'll bring it back up. So, we had some speculation on whether something like Twitter could actually implement a Web 3.0 based social media. But Lens protocol is one that is created by the founder of Aave. okay? And spun off where basically you have an NFT-based social network. So basically, Lens Protocol is a composable, decentralized social graph ready to build on so that you can focus on creating great experience, not scaling your users, okay? So basically, you know, one of the benefits here is that you could have, you know, you could basically have an NFT-based social network where you can do things like, you know, can have more control over your own data so you can take it with you. One of the social graph could actually transfer from one application to another application. So let's say that you, like, for example, like let's say that you let's just say you follow me on YouTube, right? But, you know, if I want you to follow me on Twitter, I have to actively like tell you my Twitter handle, and then you have to go find me on Twitter and you have to follow me on Twitter. So that's called your social graph. Like social graph would be who do you subscribe to on YouTube versus who do you follow on Twitter versus like who are you friends with on Facebook. All right. So your social graph could transfer from application to application. Now, I know there's different dynamics, like you don't have friends necessarily on YouTube, you have subscriptions and all that type of stuff. So it could be ways to kind of like, you know, work that out, but that is one compelling benefit of Web 3.0 based social media. So another thing I want to talk about is like censorship of social media, because some people say, hey, censorship is like a feature, not a bug on social media. Like let's say that you wanted to filter out like, you know, adult content, for example, like if you got kids that's using a social media app. So there are some answers to this, or just, you know, just there's lots of stuff that could be, you know, you want to censor as a feature, not a bug. That's just one example. So one possibility is actually implementing this censorship at the application layer and not the protocol layer. So basically, you know, decentralization is a sliding scale. All right, you could have a protocol that's powered by smart contracts or something like that on a blockchain that actually does the social media backend, but then you could have an application that consumes it. So think about like a Twitter client on your phone. Like you might have Twitter on your phone versus Twitter on your web browser, or you might have like a different Twitter client made by a third party, like I don't know, like Hootsuite or something. Like it's not as popular these days to have multiple clients, but it used to be kind of popular. So you could have a similar type of thing with blockchain where you have this protocol that powers the social network, but then you can install a different app that actually consumes it. And so that layer right there is where you could implement censorship. And so here's where this really helps, is that's where like free markets could essentially help the problem of transparency. Like those companies could make their software open source, okay? Or critical parts of their software open source, not even open source it, just like basically have a different option. So let's say that like, you know, you implemented censorship in one application. Let's say they automatically just started censoring things and you didn't like that because you could see it in this other app. Well, you could just switch apps, okay? There's ability to switch, but you still consume the same social media protocol on the back end, okay? Or like those apps can have certain features like, hey, turn this on, turn this off, show this, don't show that. And let's say one app doesn't have it. All right, well, then you can just switch apps, right? There's a way to kind of introduce competition into the equation while you're still keeping some of those critical parts decentralized. So hope that makes sense. So that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so the more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fast at this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you'll take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You have to be an expert to get started today. I help people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching.